anybody. Hi there. Welcome to the show this week on This, Not That, your marketing advice in 15 minutes or less to help you grow your business, connect with your customers, and love what you do even more. I'm Elisa Connor, and I own Elisa Connor Consulting. We help business owners, specifically entrepreneurs who are coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, turn their email marketing into mailbox money. And my co-host is Anka Herman. Hi, Anka.
Hey, lovely to be here again. Always love being here.
And Anka is your tech taming monster. So if you struggle with tech, she's your girl. And that came out really weird. I don't think I meant to call you a monster. That made you sound like you were a monster. That's not what I intended.
I'm a tech monster. Like, I'm always called the tech monster. So.
She's not a monster. She just tames the monster. Oh boy. Oh boy. So we are talking today about something that we both see very consistently happening in newer, well, even I would say some seasoned entrepreneurs marketing. And that is you have lots and lots to say when you're ready to sell something and when you're in launch mode or promotion mode. But then when it comes to building connection and conversation in the in-between, it can be a struggle. And so we were chatting a little bit before we hopped on here about some of the things that we see and thought we would just give you a few short tips to get you through those times when you don't have anything to promote or any kind of product release or anything like that you're doing. So Anka, do you want to get us started? You had some really good ideas when we were chatting before.
Yeah, no, I think this tip number one, like say something. Like don't be that person who, or like don't be that friend who only calls when they want something, because nothing is more off-putting than that. Like if you only ever write to me and then 6 months later I'm gonna go, who the hell are you, right? And you just kind of want something again. This is like, I think, yeah, definitely. And I think the crucial thing to think about is what do people need to know in order to trust you and in order to know what you can do for them, and that you're the right person to help them. And I think if you look at it through that lens, you're never going to run out of things to say.
Right. And that's such a great point, because I think sometimes people struggle with what to post on social media, and in the in between, they don't know what to post. And so they feel like a fish out of water kind of. And so one of the things that we talked about was like, make it relate to who you are as a person, because that's kind of your secret sauce, but then always like bring it back at some point to what it is that you do and like how that detail that you're sharing impacts how you work with your clients, how you do things different in the industry, all of those different things. Like, because I know like one of the things that you share quite a bit on social media is about your dogs. But at the end of every story, you're wrapping it up like a nice little bow to bring it back to why it matters. And it's not just randomly like, hey, I got a tattoo this weekend. That's awesome. Like, what does that have to do with anything? It's just kind of random. And so you really want to tie it back in a nice little bow to who you are, what you do, and how you're going to help them. And I think that's a big key that people miss out on. And I also think that can be a really big stumbling block for people when it comes to creating content in the in-between, because they don't know what to post and so they just randomly post things. And
Yeah.
that's not doing you any favors.
And I think there's one part is like, okay, how can you help them connect with you? That's number one. But then there's also this big part of, what do they need to understand about the problem you solve, about the options that are available for people, like use that time to educate people so that they know. And sometimes it's even about problem awareness. Like sometimes you might just want to talk about, so people become aware that what you're doing is actually a thing.
Yeah.
Quite often it is people aren't aware, or people have assumptions or have ideas of what they might understand something different, or they might have an idea of what this is, where it actually isn't. So like there's this whole area like, okay, what's your pet peeve? What is it that you stand for, you stand against, and really show people the problem you solve and the impact it has on their business, their lives, like in a whole new way. I always find the moment you can help somebody have a reaction like, oh, never thought of that. That's incredibly powerful. So that when they're ready to, invest in something, then you're the person they'll think of.
Yep. You're preaching to the choir. I agree. And what popped into my head when you were saying that is that sometimes you have to build the personal relationship first before they ever even listen to anything you're saying. And I think that people, I always attribute it to, like, I don't know if you guys have these in Europe, but when you go to the mall, there's these guys that always have these hand lotion samples, and like they always are like trying to push them in your face, and you're like, personal space, dude, personal space. And I think that's how some people look at how to market their product or service. And people are not out on the internet going, oh, you know what I need today? I need to buy a course. You know what I really need? I need some coaching. Nobody's walking around saying that. And they probably don't even realize that coaching is the answer to their problem. They probably don't even realize that your online course is the answer to their problem. But we try to jump past the beginning phases of that relationship so often that people, they get in a hurry. They want to hurry the relationship. They want everything to be instant because we live in a very instant gratification society. But buyers don't work that way. And so when you're creating content, like, I want to encourage you to think about, where were you before you knew what you know now? And what kind of conversation do you wish somebody would have had with you when you were in that spot? That's how you create conversation. That's how you start to build trust. That's how you create relationships. And I don't think people step back enough to go, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about, I needed some coaching. I was thinking about, I am drowning right now. I have horrible thoughts every day, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up because I'm not, I'm making examples, but I'm sure you've had the same situation. Like, before you started really learning the tech and getting clear about what technology you use and all that stuff, you were probably buried under so many solutions that you wish you would have had somebody that told you which direction to go. And luckily, because you went through all of the mistakes of what not to do, just like I have, you now have that knowledge. But sometimes we got to step back and go, wait a minute, where are they now in this journey? Where are they now? Because typically your clients are 2 or 3 steps behind you and will continue to evolve as you evolve your business. But sometimes we forget that. So I just want to encourage people to think about, like, where were you a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, that your perfect customer is now, and how would you want to talk? How would you want someone to have talked to you?
Yeah, no, I love that. Actually, it reminds me also the thing to remember is that the people who might be interested in what you're offering, like, they're watching, right? And I'll never forget in a mastermind group I went, like, somebody asked, hey, how, and it wasn't how did you get your last client, it was how did you go about hiring your last coach or mentor? And it was eye-opening because there was a very clear pattern, in the way everybody responded. There was always, oh, we met somewhere, oh, I heard her at a podcast. We were in a networking event, somebody recommended. Like, there were a million different ways that somebody would kind of stumble across the person. And then everybody said the same thing. And there was always this, like, we met here and there, and then I followed her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that follow part, that can be a few weeks, it can be a few years, right? And so it's people are every single time there is this, they're not always in buying mode, but there's constantly, do I like this person? Do I trust this person? Is this somebody I think could maybe help me? Or, that question gets asked over and over again, right? So it's like you really want to make use of that time to build that trust, so that when they do come to the point that they want help with something that you offer, that then you're the person they think of, right? And so I think it's not even, and I think one thing that I always find, or that has helped me to be way more consistent with creating content, is to have like what I call content headquarters. Have somewhere where I capture ideas, because I find I get the best ideas when I'm out on the walk, when I'm with a dog, and then by the time I get home, it's like, oh, I had this great post idea, it's gone now, right? So it's like the moment I started to actually capturing those, so that when it comes to writing something, I just have to pick one of these, I don't know how many ideas. It gets so much easier, like, because we all have ideas, and there's sometimes it's a comment I leave somewhere. I'm like, oh, there's a post in this, right? So then it's just a little prompt, so you don't start at zero. It makes a world of difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you said a couple of things in there that are really important. One is consistency. And I think that's where people fall off the bandwagon, regardless if it's posting on social media or sending emails or whatever it might be. They just don't stay consistent. But the other thing is that the follow piece, people need to be exposed to you so many times before they even start paying attention. And Donald Miller, one of the best quotes I've ever heard came from him, and it is, marketing is an exercise in memorization. You are training people to remember who you are and what you do. And if we look at when we're creating our content and our posting and stuff like that as an opportunity to put who we are in front of people again and again and again until they're like, hey, I see you everywhere. That is the goal with our businesses. The goal is for somebody to come up to you and go, I see you everywhere. Because there are so many people that are lurkers that never respond, they never comment, they never like your stuff, but they're still watching. And I don't think people realize that there's all these people that are paying attention to your stuff. And if you don't show up regularly and consistently, you're not in their flow, especially
somebody else will.
That's right. Especially now that we're fighting with things like the algorithm and stuff like that. It's even more important that you're showing up regularly, because you're now competing with advertising, paid advertising, and you're also competing with people that are doing more popular types of content. And so that could be short video, like TikTok and Instagram stories and that kind of stuff. But you're also, you're having to compete, not only showing up consistently, but you're having to compete with what's popular with audiences right now. And so if you just check out for 6 months and you try to show back up, you've lost all the traction that you had before you left. And so we just want to encourage you to not do that.
Yeah. And I think it's also, when you look at it like you put a big heavy wheel in motion, right? So it takes quite a bit of effort to get it to start moving. But once it's moving, it actually costs a lot less effort. So I think it's in your best interest and time and energy saving to just kind of nudge it along and keep it moving, rather than, oh, this is too hard, and then you have to start all from scratch again, much harder work.
Well, thanks so much for being with us again today. We will be back next week with a new topic. If you have a topic that you would like for us to cover, please put it in the comments below this video, and we will be happy to add that to our list of topics, growing topics. And in the meantime, if you've enjoyed this video, we'd love for you to like, share, and tell a friend about it. So in the meantime, take care, stay well.
And keep writing.
And keep writing. See you next week.
Bye.